Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with the review for Power Book 4, Force, Season 1, Episode 1. So you guys, our boy Tommy is back, and we are going to talk about him today. I've made it back to Atlanta. My flight landed last night at about 8 o'clock, and I was bummed to be back. I just love a good getaway. Just a quick weekend getaway just gets me back right, and I can only really relax really how I want to when I'm away from home and at a nice hotel and sleeping in a nice bed and enjoying all of the extras that come along with being away for the weekend. So it was nice. Started off rough. Jada called me Thursday. Now I got there Thursday evening after I did my video. I left, got on the flight, got out there, called. Jada called us Thursday evening and told us that she had been ran over something. It had been rainy and icy and shit. Ran over some puddle or pothole or both. And some big thing fell off the bottom of her car. It was dragging. So, it's raining. We trying to tell her what to do to get home. She was too close to really call a tow truck. She really could just drive around the corner and be here, be at the subdivision. So that was Thursday night. Friday morning at about 7 in the morning, Joe calls us and tells us that he had an accident and totaled the car that he just got. Probably August, September. Somebody turned in front of him as he was going through an intersection and they were trying to get on the freeway. So it was a rough start. Thursday and Friday, both the kids had car trouble. Thank God I left my car at home because I had planned on parking at the airport, but yeah, the car was still here, so Joe got a car rental, but Jada needed a car, and it was just a whole lot. So it started off rough, but I still was able, we managed to enjoy ourselves and, get through it. But I'm telling you, even when your kids are grown, it's still always some shit. It's always some shit. I truly felt like my parents this weekend because every time the phone rang, I was like, oh God, what now? Trying to get Joe's insurance shit situated and the car rental and, them providing that. And I mean, it was just a lot. So, not that you guys asked, but I thought I'd give you a real quick story time just on how my weekend went. Other than that, though, I had a great time. So back to life, back to reality, you guys. Anyway, the review for Force Book 1. Episode 1. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So the show starts with Tommy. He's in his Mustang. It's clean. It's pristine. He's leaving the traumas of New York behind. He's flying on the road. Okay, that lets you know how much he wants to get away from New York. And thinking about all of the traumatic events that have led him to this place. Okay. He almost looked like he want to kill himself the way he's driving. All right. And it's icy, it's snowy. When he hits about 100 miles an hour, he finally loses control of the car, but it doesn't crash. And after he lets out a good scream, he gets it together, gets back on the road. All right. Well, we got through that. We see him make a stop. Looks like he's in Chicago, but they don't say right away. But I'm looking and I was like, yeah, that maybe looks like that might be Chicago with the snow and everything. Right away, the people ain't too inviting there. We see him pull up at a house and, somebody try to shake him down for a parking space. As, looks like perfectly open curb to him. But, this guy trying to get him to pay him. Okay, well, Tommy's not paying for a parking space. He's looking at this house wistfully. We don't really know whose house this is. But he asked the guy, do you know what happened to the old lady? Where did they bury her? And the guy was like, oh, she's not buried. Turns out that the old lady was moved to a nursing home. Now, we still don't know who this old lady is. I'm assuming, though, that this is probably Tommy's grandmother. Okay. Because when he had pulled up to the house, he had pulled out this picture and he looked at a little boy and a lady. And I was like, okay, that must be his granny. So he goes to the said nursing home and he immediately spots her. She's in a wheelchair, doesn't talk. I mean, doesn't look like she does much talking if she can talk, and not walking, kind of listless, kind of slooped over in her wheelchair. And when Tommy sees her, he's like immediately overwhelmed. Doesn't say anything to her and he leaves out of the place. So now he needs a drink. It's been a rough day already. All right, so he goes to this local bar. It looks like it was inviting enough, I guess. And when he goes in there, he meets a spicy, cute bartender, black girl. And immediately there's sparks. Okay, nothing too overt, but you can tell that, she's intrigued by him. And well, Tommy has never met a black girl that he has liked. So, he need a drink. Fuck, it's 12 o'clock somewhere, and he's already had a day. So she pours him a couple of shots. He tells her that he smells the good food cooking. She invites him back later on that day. Okay, so yeah, there is a spark there, and clearly this isn't over. I mean, at least he has to come back and have some of that soup that she was talking about. I mean, the tripe, doesn't that sound yummy? Now, you guys, let's jump over to this black guy that we see. Okay, good looking black guy. Think Tyrese. Okay, Tyrese, on the Tyrese tip, maybe taller, definitely taller, maybe a beefier, sexier type of Tyrese, and then put him together with old boy from Drumline, the one that didn't like Nick Cannon, the one that had a problem with Nick Cannon, it was kind of jealous. Okay, put them two together, and then you got this gentleman that's in the prison that we're looking at on our screen right now. Good looking. I was like, okay. And he is the barber for the prison. I mean, he's also a prisoner, but he's also barbering in there, and he's cutting this old gentleman's hair, and you get the sense that everybody really does admire this young man. Okay, that the old man is telling them once he gets out of there, to just basically don't look back. Okay, you get out there and you show him what's what, and do the right thing, basically. So I'm assuming that he's about to get out of jail, and maybe this is the last haircut that he will be performing in prison. You look at him and you can tell he looked like he might have been something back in the day, but prison obviously has changed him. Maybe much calmer, maybe sees things from the different side of the coin. Obviously looks like he's been through a lot, learned a lot, and maybe kind of not real sure about what lays ahead for him when he gets out of jail. But yeah, he's being processed out, you guys. All right, we see him go to the last little checkpoint before he goes out, where he gets his articles, and the guard, like I said, it seems like people really admire him. The guard there was like, damn, these J's, like, you can get all kind of money, all kind of money for these shoes on StockX. That's the app. Well, he don't know nothing about no app. He obviously has been in jail for some time if he's not familiar with apps and how that goes down. But the guard tells him that him and some of the other guards got together and got him this, and he unrolls a really nice barber roll, with the fresh tools in there, not much, but something to get you started. But obviously this is something that makes you feel like they do like this man, happy that he's out, and trying to help him with his fresh start. So in exchange for that, he tells the guard to keep the J's, he won't be needing those anymore. And these are some nice red Jordans, flashy, definitely a symbol of the life that he used to be in, obviously. So he goes out of the jail, of the prison, and we see what we believe is his older brother waiting for him, and his brother's happy to see him, runs up to him, gives him a hug. His baby brother, he immediately notices the J's aren't on, like, who I need to fuck up to get them J's back. And he was like, don't worry about it. I don't need those. Okay. So again, now you can see the differences of what maybe his character or his personality was before and how prison has changed him. And, while his brother is still you can tell his brother looked like he got it going on. He's probably in the life that, that he's coming out of prison, well-dressed, nice jewelry, nice Stingray. What was it? Stingray? SUV, nice, what was that? Porsche? No, that's not Porsche. Anyway, and his brother has got him, scooped him up, and ready to bring him and introduce him back into the world. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be intrigued with this one, honey. I'll show he was good looking. I'm talking about noise. Now, jumping back over to Tommy. Tommy goes back to the bar, remember, because, he was invited back for soup. He's got to go. Before he goes in, though, he gonna have a quick smoke outside. Why not? Leans up against his Mustang and starts smoking his cigarette, and then a car pulls up. Hey, move out the way. Well, Tommy's like, what the fuck is going on? Why everybody trying to hit me up for my damn parking spaces? And he doesn't take too kindly to this. Like, oh, what the fuck I look like? Just moving out this parking space. He was just like, move it on along. Well, these look like these are neighborhood heavies. Clearly who's in the neighborhood, but Tommy's not from the neighborhood, so he don't really give a fuck. Okay, so the young ones get out, learn that their names are probably Simon and Vic, and it looks like they're going to try to give Tommy a hard time. All right, immediately wants to use muscle. And Tommy is somewhere in between old school and new school. I think Tommy is way more old school than these young men are new school. So we got another old school gentleman in the back seat who rolls down the window and was just like, I think my boss would take it very, kindly if you could move your car, so that we could park here so we can conduct our business. And Tommy was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. All you had to do was ask nicely. Okay. So, it could have been some fisticuffs, but it didn't. Old school calms everything down. They was just like, oh, well, fuck Larry Bird and fuck Tom Brady, because they assumed that he was from Boston, and they just immediately didn't like Tommy. Well, the feeling is mutual. Did I mention to you guys that Tommy was on his way west? We already knew that, but yes, he's been on his way west. They're calling him, wondering where he is, and he's just sort of like, don't worry about it. I'm on my way. Okay. I'm going to be there when I get there, and you guys will see me when I'm there. But I assume that he's going to go work for some Mexicans out in California. So, he's making the drive across country. Now, he does move his car up a little bit so that they can finally park. The young men go inside of the building, and Tommy is outside with the old school. And old school is like, I like your style. You know how to practice restraint. Okay, you ain't like these old fly off the handle ass young ass kids that running the streets these days, and you just don't never know what the fuck they gonna do. So he likes Tommy. He knows Tommy's type, where he comes from. And he was just like, where you headed? He says, west. He was like, yeah, well, maybe you might want to keep on going, considering you done pissed off somebody from the Flynn family. Well, again, Tommy's not from Chicago, so he don't give a fuck about a Flynn family. He don't know who they are. Fuck, they don't know who Tommy Egan is, as far as he's concerned. So the feeling is mutual again. All right. Obviously, he's ruffled the feathers of a Flynn. Okay, either that Simon or that Vic. And this is our first conflict of the show. Second conflict of the show would be the black girl inside. Okay, the bartender. Not only is she a cute, sassy black girl that has Tommy's interests, all right, how little it might be right now, but she also is the girlfriend, or maybe the ex-girlfriend, or maybe it's complicated, kind of situation between Vic and her. Okay, and Vic obviously is the son of the big boss, and Vic is trying to run the streets and run the business for his dad, but she is tired of that life, doesn't want to be a part of it, obviously, wants him to get out of it. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He obviously don't have the balls to tell his dad that he wants to get out, or if he even can get out, because when you're born into that, what do you do? So he's in love, obviously, with this girl, wants to be with her. She ain't trying to do it no more. Sick of him and his bullshit, over it, all of that. So that is conflict number two, because remember, Tommy is on his way back there to have his soup. So when he promises her that he's going to tell his dad, he's going to get out of it, she's sort of like, yeah, sure. So Vic comes out of the bar. Simon stays in there. Turns out Simon is not, I don't believe, family, at least not related to the boss, immediately, like not a son, definitely not a son. So Vic is the golden boy here, obviously. So he goes back out. Old school tries to warn him again that he needs to leave, but Tommy don't take too kindly to these type of things. So he goes inside of the bar. All right. And, black spicy girl, she's happy to see him. Like, oh, you made it back. She pours him some whiskey, even though he don't want no whiskey. Well, you drinking whiskey tonight. And then we see Simon, the one that was, fuck Larry Bird. He's messing with some girl at the bar at the end of the bar. And she's sick of him don't want to have nothing to do with him, so now spicy black bartender girl goes over there and she has to set him straight. So now we know that she also has, she has some oomph about herself. And again, Tommy has watched this whole exchange and he's impressed. Okay, now he don't happen to like Simon either, so this works out perfectly for Tommy. When the girl goes back and she's doing her job, we see Simon go out into the alley and Tommy follows him. Okay, and Tommy is going to beat his ass because fuck, he said, we don't give a damn about Tom Brady, but you cannot talk about Larry Bird. He is a national treasure. So he goes, beats him up, breaks his hand. And when the black spicy girl comes out there, she was just like, oh, like, this is probably gonna be some blowback. And Tommy was like, yeah, I ain't gonna be here to see it, so he ain't worried about it. Is this gonna, you gonna have a problem with this? And did I give you some trouble from this? And she was just like, no, no trouble here. Okay, so it's clear that these two have hit it off. Next thing you know, we doing it. Okay, and so we've already got our first sex scene in the Power franchise. I don't even think it's been 15 minutes into the show, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So these two, they have a good time. When they're done, it's it's an easy rapport. You can tell that they hit it off immediately. Nothing too serious or whatever. Everybody knows what it is, but maybe, just maybe, they talk real quick. He finds out that she was once married to a military guy, deployed. He died, in duty. And so, that was kind of how her life has landed her where she is today. And then, Tommy was like, yeah, I almost got married. It didn't quite happen for him, but just about made it there. And then he gets a text message and it says something about a meeting being changed and it's in 20 minutes. And I was just like, what meeting? I don't understand what this is. So I don't know how he found out about this meeting or what meeting even it is supposed to be that he's going to. So that part kind of threw me off. But once he read his text message, he was like, I gotta go. And she was like, fine. Now let's jump over to the boss, the big boss, Flynn. Okay, Boss Flynn, Vic's dad. Okay, well, we see him and we see him talking to his daughter. Now, the daughter obviously is maybe the brains of the family. She is the one that's working the books. She's making sure that they stay above board, they stay legitimate, cooking the books or whatever so that they can operate in this city. She's tired of doing that, though. She wants to get out there and help Vic because she knows Vic is a fuck up. But the dad is old school as well. So, he's not going to have his daughter running the streets. You're too beautiful. Okay. You a good looking, beautiful, smart girl. You supposed to be here running the books and looking after me. Okay. Let Vic be in the streets. All right. But Vic, like I said, is a fuck up. And I guess the sister knows that better than the daddy. So now we know that there's some tension in the Flynn family because old school daddy and his young, new school kids, they, there's some things that need to be given and taken, and daddy ain't trying to do any of that. So that's that. But you know what, sister girl, she needs to let off some steam, okay? Been locked up in that house looking after her damn crusty daddy, and she's over it. So she gets all gussied up real cute and pretty like, okay? And she goes to a bar, goes to a club. It's the house music is blasting, is blaring, the lights is blinking and shit. She walks in all mysterious, and everybody's like, kind of like, who's that girl? Kind of like, Grease 2. Did you guys see that movie? When they were like, who's that guy? Okay, well, it was the same sort of thing. Everybody's looking at her. She spots the one girl that's a lesbian in the club by herself. She walks up to her, she walks around her real dramatic, like kind of casing her out. And then, they do coke together and they start dancing together and they start kissing together. And next thing you know, child, they make it back to their place and they having sex. Okay. I was like 2 sex scenes in less than 30 minutes. The people that was really worried about there not being too many sex scenes in Power Book 2 Ghosts ought to be real happy with the sex scenes that's going down on Power Book 4 Force. You can get all your sex that you need. I can't figure out why anybody wants to see Mary J having sex anymore. I was just like, Mary J is not, that is not something. I think that's out of her acting range, her scope. So Anyway, back to Tommy. So where did Tommy go? Tommy went to the meeting. He obviously is a meeting that Vic is supposed to be at. Somebody please make it clear how he ended up knowing about this meeting. I just don't understand. But anyway, Vic is supposed to be at this meeting. Tommy kind of bum rushes the meeting. When they finally get inside of the building, and Tommy sort of like got his gun trained on old Vic, like, yeah, come on, let's get down here and see what's what. When they get inside, we see two real antsy white guys. It look like they, I guess they supposed to be making some sort of drug deal down here, but they don't look like they know what they're doing. We see good-looking Big Brother from what we find out the name of his little crew is CBI. Still don't know what that stands for yet, but yeah, that was CBI, and he's there with them. Okay, now who the fuck is Tommy? Well, you know what? Tommy is the one that's about to save y'all life, because you got these antsy-ass crackheads who don't know what they're doing, that's about to sell you some bad drugs, and that's... All of this is going on. Tommy already done peeped it out. Of course, CBI and Vic ain't noticed none of this. He done stressed out the two crackheads so bad that they start shooting just all willy-nilly. Don't hit nobody. Hit everything else in the room but the ones that they were shooting at. And immediately Tommy takes over the situation, shoots the guys. Okay, one of them lets one of them go, but, shoots them a good few times. And, they're just both sort of like, both Vic and CBI is just sort of like, well, I mean, who are you? He ain't Vic's boy. Definitely not with CBI. Okay. And Tommy just wants to be paid for his services. Like, I just saved y'all lives. Okay. Y'all is in here about to do deals with these crackheads. Like, what y'all doing? Like, what? Y'all amateurs or something? Tommy wants to get paid for his services too. We don't just go saving lives and busting up, bad drug deals for free. So, if you guys will be okay with it, and even if you're not, he gonna take this bag of money and he gonna keep going. CBI ain't getting his cut. Definitely Vic ain't getting his cut, and he's out. And, when CBI was like, like, what the fuck? And Vic was like, he's dead. He's a dead man. And I just laughed to myself. And Tommy is a whole bunch of things, but a dead man he is not. Now, next day, we see sexy Tyrese trying to get acclimated to his new surroundings. Can't sleep in a nice, comfy bed. He has to sleep on the floor. I mean, prison beds that you've been sleeping on cots for years and years. I mean, it's more like sleeping on the floor. Okay. And then we see him with his big brother. Finds out his name is Jamar. And they just walking their old streets, their old hood. They used to run these streets back in the day. But obviously things have changed. Now, sexy Tyrese lookalike is just sort of like, I'm going to need you to run by me the story again about what happened last night with the Casper, the ghost looking nigga that came up there. And he was just like, he didn't take over. My gun jammed. And he was like, okay, the one where your damn gun jammed and he still saved your life. Like, run that story by me again. Okay, maybe we need to find him. Well, maybe you need to. But anyway, as they're walking down the street, they end up at a barbershop. All right. And obviously this is a place that means something to both of them. They grew up in this barbershop, probably where young, sexy Tyrese got his skills from. And it's nostalgia. He's happy to be there. Like, this is where, we started, where, CBI started. And CBI, we find out, stands for Chicago Brothers Incorporated. Okay, so this is where they started. It's turned into a crew / I guess, kind of gangish, drug dealer, whatever. But this is where they started. And now we find out that the brother has bought the place free and clear for his younger brother. All the permits, licenses, titles, everything is clear. It ain't dirty money. Like, this is for him. Okay. So he's excited. Like, yeah, this is about to be the place. And, but he gonna run things differently than the way it was before. Okay. He ain't on all that shit that he was on before. He's on something new now. And Jamar don't want to hear it right now. Okay. You keep all the philosophical bullshit you got going on. Later on, I'm gonna take you out. Okay. So Jamar is clearly still in that life. Brother's not trying to be there. It's your classic, another conflict in the show, because it's going to be the pull between the past and the present and the future. And, the sexy young new Ty kind of thing trying to be right. And we also find out about his past, sort of, kind of, because this man comes in and he ain't really studying sexy. when he says, yeah, the barbershop is going to be open in a couple of days. You can come back, and I'll be here to cut your hair. And the guy that walked in, this black guy, is really not paying him no attention. Okay. And you can tell that there's something with this one. He sit down in a chair. He talk about, how he used to love this place. Okay. This is somebody from the past. So now Sexy is looking like, okay, so what's this? Okay, the guy's phone rings, and when he goes to get his phone, he pulls his jacket kind of open, and at first I thought he had a gun, but it wasn't a gun, it was a badge. It may have been a gun and a badge, but I definitely saw the badge, and so did Sexy. And so then when he was like, gets off the phone, he was like, he'll be back. Definitely a threat or some sort of warning. And Sexy, like I said, notices it. And when he walks out, he was like, welcome back, Diamond. I said, oh, Diamond is his name. Ooh-wee. That Diamond is some noise. I'm talking about that Diamond is something noise. But I was just like, poor Diamond. He trying to get a new start, and it's just always some shit. But I'm looking forward to seeing Diamond on my screen. Won't stay game. Now, the next day, we also see Vic and his sister. And she's fussing at him about, him basically being a fuck up out there on those streets, and how she's worried about him, and, that he's got to, do the right thing, and can't be out there just wilding the way that he has been, because it's becoming a problem. And Vic keep trying to tell her that he got it. She said she worried about him, and he was like, on our mama, you ain't got to worry about me. I promise you everything is going to be good. And she was like, if our mom was still here, she would be worried about you too. Okay. She knows that Vic is a fuck up, and she's just waiting for it to catch up with him. But Vic was like, you ain't got to worry about me, just worry about you. Now, back to Tommy. Tommy goes again to go see this old lady. Okay. And they have her in like in the garden, what is it called? The glass house where they have the garden for the humidity and all. I can't even think of the name of it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. They have her wheeled in there so she can enjoy like the scenery. And he goes in there, and he walks up to her like, hey, you don't know who I am? I'm Tommy. Okay. Pulls out the picture, hands it, shows it to her, shows her the back. I'm your grandson. My mom told me that you were dead. I haven't seen you since I was 4 years old, And for a quick spark, when she sees the picture and what's written on the back of it, she's like, Tommy. Okay. But that was all the light. That was all the light that sis could manage that day. So, even though she looked like she might have recognized him for that quick moment, then she goes back into her wherever that place is, where she just slumped over, not talking, not really looking, not making eye contact or whatever. But at least we know that Tommy has a grandmother, and you guys know that family means everything to Tommy. So, he sees his granny. When he leaves, he feels somebody following him, and he turns around like, who the fuck sent you, motherfucker? And it's a black guy. And the black guy was like, you just came and visited, whatever the woman's name is, and nobody's visited her in 6 years. Who are you? And Tommy was like, I'm her grandson. And who the fuck are you? And the guy was like, I'm her grandson. Okay. Black? I was like, oh, what is this? I was sitting there thinking like maybe Tommy's dad had then got involved with some black chick. Oh, no, that's not what happened though. Okay. On the reverse side, Tommy's mama, Kate, had sex with this black man who is this man's father, and he was the product. And Kate gave the boy up. So the dad is the one that raised him. And the dad told him that his mother was dead. Okay? And so he wants to know more about Catherine. And Tommy was like, first of all, ain't nobody called her Catherine. She ain't no damn royalty. It's Kate. Okay? And you dodged a fucking bullet on this one. Don't worry about it. You ain't missing nothing. And Tommy, he's so sick of his damn mama, so he was just like, listen, when we can finally wrap our heads around this, the fact that I got a damn half black brother over in Chicago all this time that I had no idea of, and vice versa for him, maybe you give me your number, we can kind of chop it up and try to make sense of this whole thing. So the black guy was like, okay. So he writes down his number for Tommy, and Tommy takes it. And Tommy tries to get rid of the number later, but he can't, because like I said, Tommy is a family man. He even though he has no family, that's why it's so important to him to have family. He lost his family with ghosts, the St. Patrick's, they gone, his dad gone, his mama's a bitch he can't fuck with, Granny thought Granny was dead all this time, she not, but she can't talk, this is all he got now is his brother. So even though he throws the paper away at the gas station, he picks it back up and he takes it like, fuck. Okay, he can't help himself. Now, again, they're calling, wanting to know where Tommy is. Okay, Tommy was like, fuck, leave me the fuck alone. I'm on my way down there. Like, I'm coming. Like, give me a break. Okay. And the guy tells him that he's his boss. And Tommy's like, I ain't got no damn boss. Like, what? I'll beat to my own damn drum. Right? But Tommy can't really fuck with him too long because he's driving down the streets of Chicago and he gets boxed in by these 3 Escalades. All right. So they box him in, make him pull over, swerve over. They get him, put him in the car and take him over to where do you think? Over to the big boss's house, to the Flynn family house. And, when he gets up there, so Flynn is old school, like I said. So, we more diplomatic about things. We gonna talk it out, so Flynn asked him where he's headed. He say he headed west. He ain't in no hurry, but Flynn probably feels like maybe you need to go. But all this is, a whole bunch of flowered words and letters. The dad is Irish, obviously, and talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. And, Tommy had to look him up and realize that he was the big man, on campus and all, but still, Tommy's still gonna do what he gonna do. So Tommy don't really feel like hearing all of this story. You know what? You can just tell me thank you for saving your son. Okay, Vic, who's also here at the meeting. And then he gives him the bag of money back. All right. Tommy knows how it goes. All right, here's your money. And then they tell him, like I said, that maybe you need to be making it on to the west just as soon as you can. Okay, now the daughter is watching from over far away, and I was like, okay, so what's gonna happen with it? Because she's a cute girl. She looked like she probably fluid, so Tommy probably be messing with her at some point too. But when Tommy leaves from there, he gets back in his car, and what do you think? They calling, the Mexicans is calling from LA again. Like, damn, he answers the phone. He says, you know what? I'm not fucking coming there. Okay, I'm tired of fucking working for people. I'm my own goddamn boss. I'm about to do what the fuck I want to do. He's tired of listening to other people telling them what to do. Okay, so go fuck yourself. And he hangs up the phone, and baby, he turned that car around as he was driving out of the city and brings it right on back into the city. So baby, Tommy has decided to plant his heels in Chicago, and we'll see what kind of shenanigans he gets himself caught up in there. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. The show actually looks like it's going to be good. I'm liking the characters so far. Everything's feels pretty genuine and authentic, and we ain't had no bad acting and no moments where it's just sort of like rolling the eyes. Like, I'm here for it. So Power Book 4 Force, we got a season ahead of us, you guys. All right, you guys, let me get off of here. I got to get back to work. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I plan on doing the same. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.